I've decided that I would like to do a series on my channel. I think a lot of you follow me for my anxiety videos, and they're the videos that I feel most passionately about. They're the videos that I really want to make. When I was really going through my horrible time of anxiety, I didn't really know any mental health YouTubers. I didn't really watch that kind of thing, but YouTube helped me quite a lot. So having somebody talking about anxiety, talking about things I was going through would have really helped me. I really want to help people overcome or feel better about their anxiety. Every month I'll make a new video about living with anxiety, alongside other things, anxiety and other mental health disorders, anxiety and dealing with normal things everybody has to deal with, and just every month having a different topic and talking about what it's like to live with anxiety, and have other things alongside that, and also some advice on how I've dealt with things and some experiences that I've had. This month's video is going to be on anxiety and sleep. This is quite a big subject. I wouldn't say I've suffered with insomnia, but I've suffered with having anxiety and having really bad sleep issues because of my anxiety, and it's something that really can get so unbelievably frustrating. And really, actually, I have been known to be crying in the middle of the night, not knowing what the hell to do when I've got school the next day or I've got work the next day and I can't sleep, and I just get really unbelievably anxious and frustrated about it. Now, I don't want to jinx myself, touch wood, I don't have sleep problems. I can go to bed whenever, I kind of fall asleep and I can wake up whenever. The only issue I have now is that I take citalopram, which is antidepressant, which makes me need more sleep. I need to have at least like 9 hours sleep, and if I don't, I really do suffer. But I know what it's like to feel like you're in a vicious cycle of not being able to sleep and therefore the next day being more anxious and then being so anxious you can't sleep again, and it's literally like, how the hell do I get out of this cycle? It's impossible, and it makes you so much more anxious and frustrated and angry, and the next day you're really irritable, and it just feels like it's never going to stop. People that don't have anxiety and don't have a mental health issue have this problem, so when we have it alongside an anxiety disorder or depression, it's like unbelievably frustrating and difficult to cope with. I have had these issues and I know what it's like to be in this space of mind, but I also know what helped me get out of it, so I'd like to share those things with you. I've written it on the back of a payslip because I couldn't find any paper, so that's how organised I am. As many of you guys may know, the thing that I find really difficult is when I feel pressured. If I feel pressured from anything, if I feel pressured from other people or myself, or if I feel pressured by a situation, then I'm really unlikely to cope. And I think that's what I found so difficult about sleep, is that I felt really pressured because I know if I don't sleep, I'm going to be in trouble and something really bad's going to happen and I'm going to be really unwell the next day. And I have this vicious cycle of really feeling so pressured. And so something that I found quite helpful is calling it rest rather than sleep. And so I don't feel like I need to go to bed and sleep and I need to have 10 hours sleep or I'm going to like feel really shit. I think going to bed and it's calling it rest and calling it like downtime rather than sleep made me feel a lot better, so I can go to bed and I can read my book and I can just chill out and just like lie there with my eyes open or closed and just like drift away into sleep, rather than being like lying there trying to sleep and being like, I can't sleep. That's the most frustrating thing in the world. So going to bed and maybe organising some things that you'd like to do in bed and just gently drifting, I think that's what really helped me manage to get into a kind of sleep cycle. The second most important thing ever when you're trying to sleep is never ever check the time. If you have to not have your phone in the room and not have an alarm clock and not have all these things in the room, then do that. The more you check your phone, it's just going to be unbelievably hard to fall asleep. If you're constantly like, I've got 5 hours and then I have to be up, you're going to be so pressured and so angry at yourself for not being able to sleep. You need to be able to not know what time it is, and then so when you wake up you don't know how many hours sleep you got. You're either tired or you're not, and you just really you cannot keep checking the time. It's just going to be so much more difficult to fall asleep and you're going to get so much more frustrated. Number one, do not check your phone ever. In fact, my next tip is no phones at all. This is a really cliche tip and everybody knows not to do this, but they still keep doing it. Don't go on your phone, don't go on your laptop when you're going to bed, when you're trying to fall asleep. It's just not the thing to do. I used to do that all the time, and what I do is when I go to bed, I will look through Instagram and then I will lock my phone put it to the side, and I won't look at it again till the morning. That is the way I manage to sleep. I will go to bed and I always have a book that I'm reading at that moment. I'm reading right now Orange is the New Black and I'm really loving it. I always read before I go to bed. I don't tell myself how many pages I'm allowed to read. I don't tell myself I have to read this many pages or I'm not allowed to read this many pages or whatever. I read until I'm falling asleep basically. If I go to bed, I'm going to bed and then turn off the light, there's no way I'm going to be able to sleep. I have to read something. I have to be able to make my eyes sleepy, and I just read until my eyes are literally closed and I cannot read anymore. Then I'll turn off the light and go to sleep. That is the way that I've managed to sleep, and I really hope that it works for you if you've not tried that one yet. Another thing that I like to do if I really can't sleep, and I have tried everything. The main reason I can't fall asleep when I can't fall asleep is because I have way too many thoughts in my head. They're not anxious thoughts. They're not me thinking like, oh, I'm worrying about tomorrow or worrying about 2 weeks time or worrying about anything. They're just lots of thoughts. I'll think about what I did that day, what I'm doing the next day. I'll think about something that happened 3 years ago. I just think and think and think about things that aren't relevant to anything. I think about how I need to detangle my jewellery. I think about ridiculous things that aren't worrying me. Just random things will pop into my head at 4 in the morning, and that's just why I can't sleep. The way that I manage to deal with that is I will think about all those things and then I'll choose one that I really want to think about and I'll think about it until I'm asleep. So I will think about waking up the next day, I'll think about going downstairs, I'll think about every single detail of my day the next day, and that always manages to help me fall asleep. If you just literally bore yourself to death of what you're going to do the next day, down to what you're going to eat for breakfast. Imagine yourself taking the milk out of the fridge, imagine yourself unscrewing the lid, pouring the milk, everything. If you just really analyse everything and you really tell yourself a story, I always think that it manages to help me fall asleep. I don't know if it'll help anybody else, but it really helps me. And my last thing that I want to say is your body will never be really truly 100% sleep deprived. You will feel very tired if you can't sleep. You might struggle a little bit the next day if you can't sleep, but your body will get to the point where it needs to sleep and it will fall asleep. Never ever worry about getting ill because you can't sleep. Never worry about becoming more mentally unwell or anything like that. If you can't sleep, your body will get to the point where it says, okay, I need to sleep, and it will fall asleep. You really don't need to worry about becoming sleep deprived or anything like that, because your body will fall asleep. This is just your anxiety being really annoying and taking away something that they know that your body needs, but it's never going to get to the point where you're unwell because of not being able to sleep or anything like that. It's just really frustrating and exhausting right now, but don't worry about becoming unwell or anything like that. That is everything that I want to discuss on the topic of sleep and anxiety. I hope that it might have helped some of you out, and I hope that you get some very nice sleeps soon. I know how frustrating it is and it's just a nightmare, but thanks very much for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye!